Good morning or good night. By the time you read this, it's about 3:41 a.m. And I know I haven't been done a lot of videos, but it's just that I've been quite sick lately. Plus, again, my everything here has been had his ups and downs lately. And for that, I have to say that I had been doing of what I could do. Like, you know, I recorded video until the point that my computer could, but some things that did happen, like I got the antivirus too late for I got a third party program. They like infected my computer. Some actually started like to be having some ghost programs, if you know what I'm saying. What I'm saying about ghost program is like your computer is fucked up. Good. You install a program. Yeah, that's good. But funny thing is, the program is still there. You may even can run it, you can play with it, but it never functions properly. I mean, I never understand the point of this. Also, again, on my life here, I've been doing good on college. Life's been great for me. Although that I'm another foreigner in another country, and like judging from, speaking of countries, like just judging from the past country that I used to live on, plus the personality of people there. I don't feel like I ever was from that place to begin with. Hell, I don't even feel like I know I'm not even I'm not even from around this. As I used to say, and like something I have to tell you, that me and like some people that I somehow know, we were born in a world that we respected each other. Like, not that I'm insulting that. It's fully harshly that no one's even respecting each other nowadays, but people, they kinda do respect, but the abundance of things that has been quite damaged, literally. And by that, things aren't going that good, because first of all, going back, okay, I'm gonna say a little part of my story. There was this one school that I used to study in, but it was that time that you always had to get a girlfriend. My first girlfriend, but there was this one problem. But like, shit didn't go well for me, and people they didn't even accept me for who I was, all because they were either dating someone on Facebook, let's say, or Twitter. And where was I? The old fossil who didn't even had a facial, not even an email at that time. But time passed on. My father gave me an email. Good. And so then my school at that era. Oh, we were just playing Minecraft a lot at that time with my friends. But don't take me too seriously. I'm no expert in Minecraft. But returning back to the talk of school, it was fun and everything else, though some restrictions on that, which kind of bugged me off at that point. But after that, it was very, but very, very, very fun. And so there was that time that I was in a lab computer, about to make my own Facebook profile. But you know what, I didn't even make it, because you know why? Because when I saw Google has its own social media, and you have some comfort in Google, but not the best comfort, which that remains a mystery for now, and for me, because since most things are, sources a few years ago, they were trustable. Now, for me, they're very questionable at most times. So having a social media on Google, let's say, yeah, as you can see on my channel, and so things have been going quite great for me. You know, as you can see, I'm also shit. I'm a mixture on the fandoms, but screw this of what I'm trying to say. I met a lot like first people like people that I met was actually random. First, like there was this guy from Minecraft, then there was this American guy that liked meat, and then there was this Chinese guy that liked noodles. But don't take me too seriously. I'm not taking it too like accurate. I'm just giving out examples of what it is. And so as time passed on, I learned that this is the people that actually had a fandom, and so that's where I joined in. I mean, I saw that I saw that there was a part on my childhood, and like, what can I say? It was like kind of obscure for me to say that Sonic the Hedgehog doesn't exist anymore at that time. I mean, just by like seeing to that, like, it shocked me. My friends around me, they just killed me. Everything just to harm my childhood and everything about it. But like every when I saw that, I felt like this as humanity restored on Dark Souls 2 as another example. It was pretty fun. I mean, and in fact, not just one of them, but the best revivals I've ever seen. And so, like, but still, but you might wonder, like, what if you struggle to get a girlfriend, even on your life? I mean, like, that did happen. I mean, like, people, they like, I was getting very, very sad at some points. But even though my chances were getting higher and higher in, like, social media, and so because of the fandoms, yeah, like, it was pretty heartwarming to see someone have a good interest in you, let's say. And yeah, shit, I hate when my mind goes blank. It just happened the best thing for me to get a girlfriend. But that part I really can't explain, because there are some moments that I really wish and I'd revisit. What can I do? I'll have to revisit again. But also, there was one thing that I can give you if you're in that same struggle and like getting a girlfriend. The best girlfriend for you is not the one that you instantly make. No. Take the ones that's like, you have a girl, it was your best friend in the past, and she's single, she's suffering. Dude, don't be an asshole. Go there, comfort her, and be the best one that you'll be. And if so, never let her go, no matter what. Like, she's always the best in your heart, and like no one ever was and no one will be. And loyalty is a key element for it. But enough of that. Another thing that I also want to say, like, besides two other things as well. I mean, three things, let's say. One, I kind of want to give a small strike something important from you, like, let's say, your childhood. But, I can't really reveal at this point right now. Like, you enjoy my way of speaking. I do appreciate that. And I thank you for that, because, world a lot of nowadays is riddled with parasites. But I have to, keep that for another audio log. Another thing that, I'm like trying to tell you is like, it's something good that I'm doing in college right now. It's a good thing that when I saw these courses, I like, man, I gotta do this no matter what, because what's the main source of life nowadays. I mean, one of the most like biggest sources of activity on internet, on your life and everything else. It's simple. It's on my channel. It's on your channel. I mean, it could be on our channel. It's on your best Freddy's channel, or it can be, and it's also on that famous guy's videos type. It's simple. Video games. It's video games courses. Like, I never thought in my life that it's like you have like a video game course at that time, because, and it's something that's not, it seems easy. You gotta have a creative mind for it, but there's that. You gotta be creative, because for everything good, there's always gonna be shit. What was the name of it again? Shit, my mind just went blank. Sorry. Give me a moment to replace the defective word for like a barrier. Let's say a barrier in your way to success in everything. I mean, your dreams, they are always possible. Even though if they are crushed, most of them are crushed by a good, by a good reason. I know that by experience. I used to have a good dreams once, like for instance, joining the military. But the reality of things, I have to tell you, I'm not usually a man of swearing, but this one I'll let it go. For not only it is very satisfying for me, for you, and for anyone else who's watching this video, but the legitimate truth that reality is no more than a bitch. I mean, no less than a bitch. Or, doesn't matter. Depends on your point of view. And, it's really like, you have an expectations and everything else. Dreams, hopes, expectations. You're just like waiting to be crushed. No matter what you do, who you are, how important you are, reality's always got, set a small barrier in your way for you to outcome, overpass, break it down. Hell, it's your life. You gotta be creative on it. And I don't really know a lot of people, but even though handicapped ones, I know you're capable of it. For instance, take my channel as a reference. At first, like when I made this channel, there were just two sides of me that were kind of bipolar at when I started this channel. One of them is like, oh god, like, I'm never gonna get a subscriber, not even one. My videos are gonna be shit. Everyone's gonna be like, mock me of this and that. And I'm like, no. And my other side was like, hey, you gotta at least try, man. You gotta at least show them who's boss. Gotta show them your guts. Gotta show them your brawn. Gotta show them your muscles. Gotta be someone. Gotta be a point of inspiration. And yeah, I don't have the world's best voice at some points, but at least I make it clear enough to say to others that, I have, faith in you. You gotta study like other YouTubers, like famous one, like the most famous ones, and to the most the most simple ones. Like for the ones that they don't get too much subscriptions, their subscription rate, their video rate, their everything else, their quality. You gotta study it well, man. Their laptop, their setting build up, their environments, because everything around you will be important, especially your balance, because let's say you earn $50 per month, despite that the time you go to the shopping, you go to that fancy restaurant, eat that expensive ass meat, and yeah, You gotta still have an economy for something. But hey, when you go to shopping, do something productive out of it. Don't just stand around and like, just, you gotta take a look around, see what would be of importance to you, like a webcam for a good reaction from horror games, from a good old jump scare, let's say, from that SCP Containment Breach video game, as an example, and a good old microphone. But hey, on what I know, on certain things, I'm quite surprised that, the more microphones you have around you, the better the quality of your audio will be. But you gotta take some time and study it. You gotta take your time of your life. You gotta study the video quality. You gotta study the audio quality. You gotta study the publicity. Like, dude, like, honestly, I've seen like people be like, notice me, give me attention, please notice me. Dude, like, that's one bad mistake. Because not everyone is worth your time. Everyone, like, they're not your friends. They just want to bring you down. No matter what you do, who you are, they see you want attention. Who they are to, like, help you. They're no one. They're simply, like, they're just there to, like, bring you down. And this and that's always the worst thing to do. But hey, you gotta study some people. Like, usually kids, for instance, I'll share this dream for you. In fact, it doesn't even matter for me anymore because it's already a crush dream. You know what? I always dreamed I always was gonna be a happy father and, everything else and everything, but there's always this. The entire world, the internet, social media has taught me one thing. Like, kids, they're like, most of them, like, the big chance of, you're getting a good one is 1 in a trillion. Like, you might have a good kid at the start, but as time passes on, he'll get some influences and, like, shit will go bad for you, my friend. Don't have any kids. I recommend you, like, if you want to have any kids, you can also donate sperm or anything else. I mean, do whatever you want. But honestly, man, if you're gonna have a kid, then I hope you have something well planned for it, because nowadays the influences of parasites are actually 10 times stronger nowadays than it already is. For instance, we all remember, like, in 2000 and the year 2000, from like 2009, 2010 to 10, let's say. Sorry for my, pronouns, but we all remember that area. I mean, like, the world, I mean, it was just beautiful the way it was. Slightly as the time passed on, like, something started to went to a decay. Some parasite that escalated to power of who or he, or more than they should have never escalated the power. And guess what? Their greediness for money has changed the world into the bad that I see. I'm not usually the pessimist person you hear, but I used to be a good guy, but a good and pessimist guy. But hey, just because I'm a pessimist doesn't mean that I have good spirits. You shouldn't judge a pessimist guy just because he's a downer or something. Because I'll tell you this. Pessimism is one of the best things that ever happened to me. Like, it kept you alive, it kept you survive, it kept you away from manipulating your trust issues. Like, it helped you to not be manipulated so easily. And so, but hey, I just realized something. I just got carried away on the talk that I was talking about something, and then I talked about pessimism and optimism. But anyways, back to the talking. So I need to end this, and then I have to go to bed. And you know, video game design and 3D architecture, it is a good courses. I definitely recommend you. But you know, there are two types of diplomas: the AEC and the DEC. What I do mostly require now is the DEC diploma, and I require most, and I'm on the AEC diploma line. And to jump onto that one, I mean, I don't have much of a, I don't have too much options for me to go. In fact, that the place where I live, it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, there's no doubt in that. But hey, you gotta play by the rules, the rules that not manipulated by parasites, but the rules that actually are worth your time. You gotta filter it, buddy. Oh yeah, and by the way, certain things. Yeah, you gotta be aware of certain things. But also, here comes this. I'll leave the bad parts for the the bad parts for last, because you might be thinking I'm a crazy person, and man or dude, wham, dude, girl, lady, no matter your age, your gender, I gotta tell you this. What was I gonna say again? Sorry, I hate it when this happens. Wow, 21 minutes and 56 seconds. Anyways, what I was thinking is, seeing as I'll leave the bad part for last, and time to get a childhood burner. Who is up for a story? Now let me get you a touching story that I've saved on my dear little iPhone. Now give me a second and I'll be back soon with you. Now, where was I? As you can see, also by the way, I'm not feeling too well, as I've gotten a bit of a cold and it fucked up my throat, and so. But hey, let me get you a touching story that I recently got around. Alright, let me get a bit closer to the microphone, because this one you're gonna find it very interesting. 12 years after it was first aired, the producers of Max and Ruby has finally announced the psychological aspect behind it. The reason why there are no parents is because they died in a car accident on their way to picking up Ruby from the Bunny Scouts. Max was in the car at the time, he survived, but suffers from serious brain injuries. Hence the reason why he always messes up in the show, and Ruby is the mother figure and has to look after him and fix the problems. Max is mute because their grandmother molested him at a young age, and he is traumatized that he created a super bunny as an imaginary hero to somehow save him from his life. He plays with an ambulance and police cars because he remembers those vehicles were there during the accident. Pretty much of a shocking story, right, my friend? But hey, what can I do, right? Alright, now, here is the third part. Even though I sometimes get carried away from some things, and right, you might be this part here of this video. I at this point I recommend you to save you some time. To save you some time, I recommend you exit the video and watch something else, because this video you might gonna think me of something crazy, some crazy guy, and it's a bit paranormal, paranoid, you name it. But hey, if you're skeptic and you don't believe stuff too easily, but dude, it's gotta like you gotta understand it, like certain things. All right, let me count to 5. You have 5 seconds to skip the video or like keep in the video. Your call. I won't force you. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I bet you've never heard it, but as most people that I've seen, like you're mostly into creepypastas and so, right? As you might have seen, like I haven't noticed, but there is like a type of entity that roams around it. I'll try to post a link on this video if YouTube ever lets me to, like, and I'm always getting the feel of being paranoid, of being watched all the time by this particular entity of it. Of some stories that, like, you might have heard from ghosts and something like that. You might start to be a little suspicious about this experience that I passed through, actually. Okay, so the first entity, they're called not the first entity, if I start saying them, but this entity that I'm talking about is called no more, no less than the shadow people themselves. They also created a creepypasta, not only making them the stories, but just explaining them, how they work. I can, actually get like how can I say, a proof that exists, because, I usually sometimes I stay up with my friend to help them out with with your, what was it again? PTM. PTM stands for post-traumatic disorder. I'm also being told if this shadowy figure is roaming around the house, not only but the room, but everywhere. And sometimes your safe zone might vary from one time to another. And as I've started to get into it, it could have been a mistake, but I had no idea of the risks of it, of being affected by it. But don't take me for any fool, because I am no fool of that. And how can I say this? They came and they affected my mind. And at first, they didn't even started affecting me too much at first. My imagination. It always starts on your imagination. It is your key element to your mind and sanity and all that. They started talking about me. I listened carefully to it. Unlike some assholes who are too skeptic and they don't believe in anything at all. And the only thing that they believe is what they see and what they hear, but they don't actually know everything and feel everything. For some things in our perspective are very limited. But my friend, they helped me in expanding this more. And it started affecting me quite a little when I got the curiosity of it by listening deeper. Later on at the night, when I wandered around, I started feeling a bit unsafe, because I always kept hearing some eerie sounds coming from around. Later on, when I kept hearing, I went to YouTube and I kind of did a mistake of mine. I got the more interest of this shadow people, and it was very amazed at first. It was a discovery for me that I was very excited to see. I just go so immersed into it. I gotta see more of that. And it just kept on coming and coming and coming. But I did a mistake at some point, and then they really started affecting me. As my friend, we started to catalog certain of these types of shadow people that we've seen around them. But to following this shadow people, it's for one thing, I gotta tell you, it's bad, and for bad things are easy, as a wise man would once say. And they always keep haunting you at night, even though if you come to go to your fridge at night, you get a feeling that you'll always be like feeling followed, or like something. Okay, but I can give you this. The first thing that to fall in the shadow people world, and so there's a type that my friend we called the introducer. It's mostly recognizable because it has two pairs of shiny silver eyes. When you look at it, you'll see that instantly something is there. You don't know even how to react at it. And that is when they start feeding on your insanity. And they deposit their own stuff there, and they start living in your brain, let's say. And you'll start even though you won't you might not see them, but you'll feel them around. You know that they are around you. They're just watching you. But sometimes you're not mostly around till touch you. And so but hey, another source and another entry point for that, if you're even listening to this point until now, that I'm surprised that this is my first one that I'm really talking about. It's just at this hour late at night, and this entry point is the Hat Man. It's mostly figured out by a demonic human form, all like a silhouette of a man with a hat. He just stares with you in the darkness. You'll recognize him with a hat, looking just with you. They're probably most likely to attack you when you're sleeping. For I kid you not. I mean, this particular person that I've been talking to, there's some things that's been kind of happening, kind of good and bad. Sometimes they can get a lot, fairly conflicted of this all. And man, conflicted, I mean you'll see everything, but apparently you're not. This my friend who had post-traumatic disorders, I don't know if some disorder in their mind, it affected them, but hey, you're gonna be jealous of this friend after you hear this. They can actually see Foxy and any one of their any fictional characters, either if it was made by someone famous and they really like it or not, or their own type. Sometimes they even see themselves as their own character. And also they also see, for instance, the Five Nights at characters. They just roams around in their houses, but they don't attack you. They're simply most friendly at some point. But of what I understood at this point of the Five Nights at Freddy's, characters roaming around your house, it has a price, despite the shadow people living around you, the eyeless one. It's more likely that he'll physically try to harm you, and will give you nightmares, shock you if you look too much in its empty black eyes. Not if I'm saying that there's something bad with black eyes, but there's always this one something you have to be aware of. Otherwise, shit's going down for you, my friend. These things, You open like it's not you're going crazy. It's just you're opening your mind to like the things that your day after day objects they keep blocking you from it all the time, again, again, and again, and like they make you skeptic of it. They make you believe in certain things and this and that, and also but there's just too much weird stuff going on. I've also heard that certain oh, better not spread this out. It's not too friendly to say it, but they actually they can touch you like a poke. Let's say to even like when you're doubting them too much, they like poke, just for you to know that they are there. But also, speaking of the introducers, they aren't just the type of they are around like you can even see them in your imagination. Like you start being paranoid over some small stuffs. Like you can actually see them watching at you, but hey, that's when amnesia, the dark descent, comes into your life, where you're gonna find comfort, safety, and warmth in light. As you're starting to get crazy in your night and everything else. I mean, it's really, really, really creepy. I'm really, really jealous of my friend at this point because, hell, who would not have to have their own characters around them who are just part of a fandom, right? And, how can I say this? And they actually defend themselves from around, even if like you interact them with them. For instance, let's say Foxy from Five Nights at Freddy's is it with you. If you talk to him about the bite of 87, he starts mumbling, shivering, shuddering around you like if like the actual character had like some really deep scars from what really happened, and had some regret all the time. Don't worry, it didn't broke at that point. I just kept repeating the words. But anyways, certain things like you can actually see some fun things out of it. Some fun and funny things out of it. You want to know something funny of what my friend actually lived through? Take Chica, Chica the chicken from the same game Five Nights at Freddy's. My friend told me that Chica is a pizza addict. Oh, she's a pizza addict, Chica the chicken. But if you're eating chicken meat in front of her, she's most likely to panic, which the pizza addict is something fun, and cannibalism fear is something funny. But that's just like an example of what it is. Also, these things for me, they just started for me just not a few days ago. Like if I can, I'll just keep trying to keep updated of what actually happens of it, because this feels it's having shadow people with you. You might believe me that you might think of me as a masochist, but I have to admit you this: having these shadow people around you, it gives you some excitement in your life. Like it's simply like they put some action in your life. Sorry, with the hiccups. They put some action in your life, and like something for you to oh, your nights are too peaceful, eh? Don't worry, we're just gonna here to make things a bit more different for you. And that's what they do. I mean, when you're expecting in your life, in your nightlife, to do whatever you want in your room, lonely at night. When you have this shadow people living in your mind, you're always gonna feel like something is there, coming at you. Hell, sometimes even a lot of creepy stuff can happen at you, my friend. Have you ever heard of smile.dog or smile.jpg? Not the first type, but the one whose ears are actually missing and, oh, the eyes. I mean, the smile is just something traumatizing after it. After, like being in my first days of it, I actually had a nightmare of it. The nightmare goes like this. I am just walking in my room. The husky comes from the gates of hell to me, and I'm holding like a Mauser pistol from the World War II era. I shoot it a couple times, and guess what? The nightmare's gone. I mean, I'm feeling better. But hey, don't take me too seriously. I mean, it might happen again to me. And like, who knows? One of these nightmares is just gonna like ruin the perfect jump scare for like a good game, or it's simply going to like take your life away for something. But anyways, you gotta be aware. Gotta be aware of certain things you do, like, for instance, like, I'm not good at voice acting of this, but if you're hearing whispering talking to you, just don't question it too much. Don't expose it. You're only gonna get crazier and crazier after this. You're only going to damage yourself if you're gonna expose this. And don't force yourself not to think about that. Not to think about them. Just don't force yourself. Just think of them. See where they are, and like something like, like, be aware of this, of it, like. And some people actually believe me or not. Oh, some people believe me. Who would have ever believed me after hearing this? But anyways, after some people seeing that, like, something that happened, like, for instance, you remember the good old vampire movie that the preacher, when he holds a cross at a vampire, he usually burns a lot, right? I also heard that the shadow people, if you hold a cross at them, they usually stay their distance away from them. And like, not having a cross, just like for the Christian religion, but just for some protection, let's say, you gotta be aware, my friend. And that's what I did in the Five Nights at Freddy's map. You're not going down without a fight. You gotta be aware of it. Like, even if you go to a church, like holding a toy gun and blast it with holy water, and pretend like you're firing at the shadow people, who knows, you might actually either scare them off or shoot them dead in sight, making them think another way. But dude, think of me of this way. If you shot shadow people, I know that you would celebrate your victory and everything else, but wouldn't it make them more aggressive, more feral, and more like, you'd be calling the Hatman with you, like, it is a shadow. The Hatman is a shadow people entity, but I heard he's the big boss of it, let's say, and he's also the Grim Reaper as well, and someone you don't want to be messing around with. I mean, like, believe it or not, if you like want to like take a look around these people, I mean, there are actually some people that believe in these stuff. And they just believe in it. Some of them, as I said, some things they're very questionable nowadays to believe it or not. But hey, if some people actually have these problems, who are you to judge them, right? You're in the world to make like the good and not the bad. So if you're in the world to do something good, then do it right. Even if someone like suffers from like this shadow people syndrome, try to help them out. Like, even if, like, this disorders might not be a problem, like a certain upgrade, in a way, let's say, you can also see their own fan characters who could also just snuggle, cuddle, and pet them during daytime or nighttime along with these demons. Or who knows? You gotta see something for yourself on what you can do. But remember, if you get the feeling that it's only gonna make it worse, then my friend, I highly recommend you stop it right now, because it is gonna make things worse. And the amount that the person suffers, you have no idea how it is. Even though I know this by experience. Even though I know, like, I just have, some personal experience of it. And so I'm feeling quite empty on my armory. I want to fight them back. But hey, some of these shadow peoples, they might not always be your enemy. They could also be your friend as well. Let's say, for instance, they could have the same music taste as you do, right? For instance, you like classical music, you like to listen to Bach, you like electronic music, you like listening to that one furry dude that makes electronic music. They like listening to punk rock music, who was this guy who held a guitar, or they like to listen to rock music of the crazy old Ozzy Osbourne. But I'm just giving out examples and certain things. You gotta be aware of things to do. And also, I have to keep going now that my time is coming to an end at this point, and I bid you farewell for now. And any type of videos that I'm delayed on what to do, I promise you that I will do. Oh, and also, one thing that I have to tell you about the shadow people and the creepypasta that I'm saying you, it is not necessarily a creepypasta, but the silver eyes of an introductor to you. And again, there's some creepypastas fans, they have the intention to make it worse, to make it even more traumatizing with that crooked old smile at you, with those crooked teeth that you're just smiling, just looking at you, waiting to take a bite out of your neck. But hey, you gotta be planning for this. Unless it's going to be like some weird creepy pastas at you. And if your imagination starts to flicker out on certain creepy pastas or something then I highly recommend you to be on your guard, because if it flickers, it's an alarm. It's triggered off for something. And I bid you farewell for now. For I have to go to bed. And for now, and for this, I wish a fair good night or day, depending on where you are. Also, keep in mind that some people might be in need of your help more than you can ever imagine, and sometimes you're only the one that could ever help them, even though you doubt yourselves. And even though I'm a pessimist and I shouldn't sing these things, but hey, when I do have a bad feeling about something, or someone do have a bad feeling about this, do your best to prove them wrong to the positive. And I'll see you at whatever I make. Farewell and good night, and I'm feeling very hungry. But anyways, good night.